All right, ladies and gentlemen, boy, I hope that you guys can hear this live stream. I'm in the middle of making a bunch of changes with the tech, audio, video, everything. I know there's a huge glare on my face right now. That's for a reason, because I'm going to be showing you guys my hands in a minute. Right here. All right. We're going to be looking at some things up close. So I do have the lighting right there. Not that you care, really. It's okay if my forehead's a little glossy. It's not bothering anybody. But anyway, let me say this real quick. I know this video, for the most part, is going out to my main JSlay USA channels. All right. And for those of you who are like, why is Jeremy mixing so much stuff about, baseball or baseball cards or coaching or any of those things? Well, number one, it's my channel. Okay. Number two, these things are a part of my life. And nobody's really complained, but I can understand how it could be confusing to the audience that knows me as, cultural commentary, writing about these topics. And unfortunately, they are very highly sensitive typically and all those things, But I felt called to do it for a long time, and I still feel like I have a voice in that space, and I'm going to continue to do those things. But even tonight was going to be more of, well, where was it? I've got to finish my thought there. I want you guys to know JSlay USA and what I do there is not going anywhere. Okay. I'm not changing or, just turning the page or anything like that. I do feel like that it needs to evolve some. The approach may need to change a little bit for me. But in the meantime, life is too short to constantly just be under the gun of stress and of like this or that problem in the world, especially when there's only so much you can do about it. I mean, I think spreading awareness is huge. I think we should not be fooled by things the government or that, the cabal or whatever tries to pull. I think geopolitically, we need to be as Christians a lot smarter than we've been. And you guys know I've got a ton to say on those things. At the same time, I'm in the prime of life right now. And, I've got a family, kids, life is good in so many ways. And I have some things to offer outside of this that can bring people just joy. It's not stressful. One of those things is baseball. And I still love it. I've rediscovered in a big way my love for it, my knowledge about it. The coaching piece was coming back into my life as my sons are getting older. And again, I hope you guys can hear this. Let me go to my Rumble stream real quick and make sure nobody's complaining. Give me just a second here. There's not very many people watching, but yeah, you guys can hear me. Okay, very good. But guys, I will be back. I hope that my following will come back in a big way as I get back into the JSlay stuff, because I will, trust me. But this, for many of you don't know that I had a pretty major, I had an ACL reconstruction surgery about 3.5 weeks ago. Actually, it's a month right now. And I've come a long way, but it was those first 2 weeks, man, they put me on my ass completely. So during that time, I was just laying low, and I didn't have the spirit at that time, even though I'd really been digging in to the Charlie Kirk stuff for a couple weeks there, and my social media was blowing up because I was just calling it like I saw it. And, a precious few conservatives were doing that and are still doing that. Now, they may think they're in the right or whatever, but really, I think they're just playing it safe and just doing what conservatives typically do, which is just toe the line of the Republican, just, ugh. Sure, it's not as bad as the left. I'll give you that. All right. But I feel like it's just one big circle jerk, to be honest with you. And, it's sad. It's sad. But I don't want to spend my time being sad. So here's the deal. I'll get to the point, then we're going to get to the fun stuff on this video. I'm launching a couple things. One, and you will see this in the description. Okay, so check the description. It might be in there now, but I think I'm going to put it in right after this live stream. A Whatnot baseball card auction channel. Okay, if you've never heard of Whatnot, it's a really cool app. It takes 5-10 minutes before you start figuring it out, but it's these really quick bids. auction style bids where, you know, a person like myself brings up some merchandise, whether it doesn't matter what you're into. It could be old coins, it could be purses, it could be baseball cards, could be, you know, Pokemon, which is huge, by the way. And they'll show it. They'll tell you briefly what it's about, what that product is about. And you just do your little slider every time you want to bid. Usually it starts at $1 or $2 or $3. And every time somebody hits the slider, it'll jump by $1. And the time will jump back up to, say, 10 seconds. And then it'll start that 10-second countdown again until nobody else bids. And then, boom, you've won. And so far, I've gotten a lot of stuff to kind of help me build up my merchandise. I should call it partly my own collection of baseball cards. And it's been really fun. And the sellers on there seem to be great people. And they're very timely with the shipping. So really, really cool. Making sure there's no problems here. Yeah. Again, one-man show, guys. Thank you for dealing with that piece of it. But I'm launching a Whatnot channel that hopefully these auctions will go well. I'm going to show you guys some of the stuff that I'll be auctioning tomorrow night at 8:30 will be my first one. All right. So if you'll click that link in the description, I ought to put it up there now. But if you go on Whatnot, if you already have the app, it's under JSlay Rips. And rip is just kind of like a street slang term for ripping open packs or boxes. You know, like here's a box of 1992 Pinnacle. So it's called box breaking or pack ripping. We're going to do some of both. All right. It's going to be a lot of fun. So that's one thing, is my Whatnot show, and you guys will get a kick out of seeing me running an auction for baseball cards, because I actually know quite a bit about that sport, not just from playing it, but also the players and where their mentalities were at back in the 80s and 90s and the early 2000s. And there's just so much you can learn, so much you can learn from me by listening to me talk about these old ball players. Maybe so, I don't know. But, that'll be fun. Number two is all things baseball and JSlay related. I'm not going to keep hitting you guys on my Instagram or my Facebook or my Rumble or whatever who are there for my JSlay content. You're there for that. And instead, you've been getting a lot of like baseball stuff. That's going to shift. All right. I'm going to have JSlay USA Baseball. That should already be in the description. Let me double check that. It's not on Rumble yet because I wrote that Rumble thing last night when I was, I was pretty angry about a lot of the stuff going on, especially with Trump. But so anyway, JSlay Rips, or no, I'm sorry, JSlay Baseball. JSlay Baseball. You can find a new Facebook page for me with that and YouTube, and it'll have everything from me coaching baseball to me talking about the different eras in baseball, whether it be steroid era or whether it be, mid-90s, this, that, and the other. Maybe I'll talk about a World Series, when the Boston Red Sox in 2004 came back and beat the Yankees, stuff like that I may have insights on, because it's just fun to talk about, and it's low stress. I think it's therapeutic. It's good for me, and it's stuff that anybody can enjoy. So I hope you'll check that out. Tonight, I am going to be breaking a box, and this is an unusual box. This is a set. And there was a guy that he's a friend. I don't talk to him much anymore. Growing up, his name is John Festervand, and he lived in my neighborhood. One of the first guys that I was buddies with in this new neighborhood I moved into when I was probably 10 years old. And we lived there until I left for college, basically. Until I left for college, that's where we lived. Well, I remember it was either he or his brother had gotten a set of Stadium Club, which Topps, if you have gone back and looked at Topps cards, the 80s are the 80s. They look like, just soft cardboard, basically. They're a little thicker cut than maybe Donruss or Fleer. That may be the only redeeming quality, but they're not real pretty cards. For those that don't know, Topps did make some special sets in this printing press they owned in Ireland called Topps Tiffany, which was kind of named after, Tiffany, the jeweler, or Tiffany Diamonds, because it was meant to be their special set, and they printed it on harder, thicker cardstock that was glossier and brighter colors, and actually does look really nice, but you had to buy a complete set of Tiffany, and the only people that knew about that, this is going from I think they had their first Tiffany set in 83, 4, somewhere 83 or 84, and they did that until maybe 93, because that was when sets like Stadium Club came out, and it looked, better than Upper Deck cards did back then. So full bleed, glossy photos, look like magazine covers. But all that to say, Topps went from being kind of the uglier card, I thought, especially the 90 and 91. 91 was atrocious, and that was like their 40-year anniversary. But then they came out in 91 with another set called Stadium Club, and they did that as a reaction to some of these other, like Leaf was a premium card. What's it called? I just said Upper Deck. Upper Deck was premium, and they had, in 1989, they've got the world's most famous, iconic Ken Griffey Jr. rookie card is 1989 Griffey. And even though that card has been mass produced to the maybe 100 million of those were made or something, 50 million, they still are pretty darn valuable, especially if they get a good grade. And you'll hear me talk about that more and more, is how important grading is during that era because there were just so many cards printed. But anyhow, I go over to John Festervan's house, and I remember he had this like plastic stadium that had baseball cards inside, and that was Stadium Club. I'd never heard of Stadium Club, and I was really into cards because the dealers are, I typically got my cards at like a drugstore because it was one across from the school I went to, gas stations, Walmart, or the super, Kroger or Food Lion or wherever. Everybody had cards back then because the hobby was absolutely blowing up. But he was like, or I think it was his brother James said, he's like, hey dude, if you want like really good cards, like those are good cards. Those are good cards. And I was like, I kind of felt like, my cards are good. What are you talking about? But I don't remember what year he had, but Topps Stadium Club, they did release packs that you could really only get in hobby stores, but they also released something where they would put complete sets inside a plastic stadium. Now, this is the 1993 edition of Topps Stadium Club. It says 92, but it's actually 93 cards. So the entire hobby considers this 1993 set, even though it says 92 edition. And these were called the Jack Murphy Stadium Edition because this is San Diego had the newly inaugurated Jack Murphy Stadium. It says package in a handsome collectible replica of San Diego Jack Murphy Stadium. So to some degree, a sealed box of this is a collector's item that's going up in value. Definitely going, way more than it was worth 20 or 30 years ago. And think about it, 1993, I mean, we're talking 32 years ago now, right? 93? Yeah, 32 years ago. All right, guys, so what do we have here? What are we looking at? What you're looking at is inventory for my new Whatnot baseball card auction show. Link in the description if you would like $15 off on an auction for some of these amazingly rare cards. Right there at the top, you've got the Fleer 1984 sealed box, certified sealed, never been opened. The packs in that box are going on eBay right now with shipping, averaging about 16 bucks a pack. On my show, you ought to be able to win these bids for maybe $7, $8 a pack. You're going to be spinning a wheel. It's a roulette wheel to land on one of these boxes. Lots of rare stuff. We got 1990 Leaf, where you get Frank Thomas's rookie card. You got 84 Fleer, Don Mattingly's rookie card. You got 93 Upper Deck, where you can land Manny Ramirez, Chipper Jones, and others. You've got, let's see here, you've got 87 Topps, where you can land a Bo Jackson rookie card, among others. Guys, it's going to be awesome. It's going to be awesome. Go to the link in the description, join my Whatnot show, and let's have some fun together doing some nostalgic baseball card stuff, some vintage stuff. We're going to talk a lot of baseball and have some fun. See you there. So the reason I got this specifically is one of the guys that had his rookie season, almost everybody that had their rookie season in the early 90s ended up becoming a part of the steroid era. The ones that didn't, like Griffey or Frank Thomas, he's a huge guy, but people didn't think of him as a steroid guy. Those guys, Derek Jeter, their cards have really held their value. They were first ballot Hall of Famers. There was no question about that stuff. And I really, because of the early 90s, I was looking at Chipper Jones, I knew was a big time prospect, and he was already, coming around by 95. Everybody knew him. But Jeter just looked like such a skinny little twerp, but like in 1993 or 92, those rookie card eras for him. So I didn't pay any attention to him. I traded all my Jeters away because, like, who is this little? And this guy looks like he's 14, and truly he does. And and the thing is, this set though has the second most sought after Derek Jeter rookie card. So I will get, I mean, unless something's really wrong and this eBay guy screwed me, I will get a Jeter card tonight. All right. The hope is that the cards aren't bricked. So anytime, I mean, you've got cards right now that are sealed in plastic, smashed together, and they're full color bleed with a UV coating. And I think these early Stadium Club, I opened up a pack of 1991 the other day. That coating was so thick, like you had to like tear the cards apart, and it truly was tearing them apart to try to pull them. You can put them in the freezer, and there's some methodology around that gets them to like kind of crack a little bit. Like if you get, gum in your hair and you put ice on it, it can kind of help that break apart. That can help a little. But tonight we're just going to take our chances. The first most valuable Jeter rookie card is the 1993 Upper Deck SP, which stands for short print. And that was their even more premium card, even above these guys, even above Stadium Club, to compete with the likes of Flair, which back in the day was like a $4 pack, which back then, in 1993 or 4, that was crazy expensive. There was like Don Russ had like some kind of highfalutin thing. There was Score Select and Score Summit, which were really, really high dollar premium cards. But SP, for whatever reason, really held its value. And the Derek Jeter card in that set, because of they put a silver foil on it, and it is known to grade really low. So even fresh out of the pack, you're most likely, even if you take extreme care, out of the pack, it's likely to get probably an 8 rating. That's the most likely score, which, hey, that's actually worth a lot. And that's why an Upper Deck SP box to go buy, I think it's got 24 packs in it of like very few cards per pack too. You're talking almost $2,000, maybe more than $2,000, because you might land a big time Jeter. And if you get, and there's some, I mean, I think Ramirez is in there, Manny, I think Chipper Jones is in there with their rookie cards. So it's no dud set outside of him either. But if you land a 9, Jeter, you're talking, and I'm ballparking here, but 10 grand, 9 grand, 20 grand, somewhere in that ballpark. But if you land a 10, you're looking at close to $500,000. And there's only been 18 of those ever graded at a 10. I think it was 18, 19, somewhere in there, out of probably, I don't know, 100,000 produced. Is that right? Yeah. Anyway, I've talked a lot. Let's get this thing open and let's talk through this. And again, if you're just joining, I'm launching my first live baseball card auction on the app Whatnot, WHATNOT. You can find me on there at JSlay Rips. All right. And I will put the link to my Whatnot auction for tomorrow night in the description. Okay. Click that and let's meet tomorrow night, 8:30. And I've got I'll show you one piece from that. I'm pretty proud of this. All right, see this right here? This is 1984. I'm going to switch to my iPhone camera real quick. This is a sealed 1984 box of Fleer, all right? And Fleer at that point was just kind of making a name for themselves. I think they launched in 81 when Topps had lost the sole rights to the MLB licensing, so Don Russ and Fleer jump in the game. Fleer was probably still the low man on the totem pole, I think, but a respectable card nonetheless, and I think that they looked better than most Topps cards. But here's a crazy thing on this. So to get one of these sealed right now, you'll pay anywhere, if you get a really good deal, really good, you may get in the mid 400s, but you'll see them sell on eBay for $900 too. Very important if you're going to get an old box like this. You can see this black plastic wrap where it says baseball card exchange. Pretty crazy. This guy, Steve Hart, started a business where you send in old boxes to verify that they've never been opened, that they've never had packs pulled out and thumbed through and then professionally resealed, maybe stuffed with junk and put back in, because that happens a lot actually. And as this box continues to age, the cards are only going to go up and up in value. So what this guy will do, Steve Hart, he'll take an old box. They will verify everything they need to do to make sure it's not been tampered with. They'll put their own seal on it. It's called the Baseball Card Exchange, the BBCE certification, and it makes everybody can then rest assured that the box has not been tampered with. So this will be we are going to open it tomorrow night, and you will be bidding on either team. I've not quite decided yet. Am I going to have the people, the bidders, bid on like spinning a wheel to possibly land on this pack, or, like this pack? Like I'll have 7 different boxes out. Which one are you going to land on? That's one way to do it. The other way to do it is say, okay, guys, it's time for this box. We're going to spin the wheel, and you pick a team, and you bid to get that team, by the way. So so as that wheel's spinning, you're putting down money hoping that it's going to land on your team, whoever you want. Now, I would want the Yankees because the Don Mattingly rookie card is in here. But there's also some other big-time rookies in here as well. But that Don Mattingly rookie, if it is in really good condition, which this actually can be, you're talking about a $1,000 baseball card, all right? So let's dig in to this Stadium Club Murphy set, one of the coolest releases of the 90s. I want to take care with this box. I want to mess the box up. Okay. And don't make fun of me on how I do that. I know there's probably like really good ways to rip these open, and I don't know what those are. So I'm not a professional breaker yet. I'm getting there. All right, so we got the special Stadium Set 1992 edition. Boy, this is a beautiful, beautiful box. You know what I should do is get another one of these, or maybe get 2 of them. One of them people auction for, but maybe another one have as a giveaway. Like if I get up to 100 people in my auction at one time, throw this out there as a giveaway to anybody that purchases something during the show. We'll do a spin the wheel to see if we, or a randomizer to anybody that's purchased an item on my show has a chance to win this. Wow. All right. It's almost like a hat. Like one of those, oh boy. Oh, I forgot about this. Look at this. These are the jumbo photo set. I cannot, and look, it's even like yellowed with the age, even though it's been in there the whole time protected. This is wild. These actually hold value. This is so cool. I forgot all about this. Oh, wow. The Stadium Club Master Photos. Check that out. Isn't that pretty? That's Ken Griffey Jr. holding up Most Valuable Player of the All-Star Game. And again, these photos would have been from 92, but it is a 93 set. Let's see that. Kirby Puckett Master Photo. And this is way larger than a regular baseball card. This is I'd call that a jumbo card. Probably ½ inch bigger at both height and width. Tom Glavine. One other cool thing I'll say about this Jack Murphy set is when we get into the cards that are inside of here, they are different images than the normal 1993 Stadium Club set. So if you went to the store, the hobby store, and bought a box at 36 packs of these, you get some of the same players that are in this, although Jeter is not, by the way. That's why the Jeter is very valuable, because you have to have one of these. But all of the images for the Murphy set are different. I'm 95% sure on that. I think I read it a little while back. Chuck Knobloch. Is he a Hall of Famer? I need to go back and find that out. But anyway, just really, really nice, beautiful photography for this era. I mean, let me show you real quick. There's Tony Gwynn. Let me show you guys real quick the comparison to what Topps cards look like up to this point. Hold on. Hang with me 1 second. So this is 92 and 93. Actually, this is 91 here. But I mean, okay, so here's a Roger Clemens. All right, now you may not be able to tell, but like the quality of these, I mean, you can tell it just looks like a cardboard box that they printed on. The thickness was a little bit better than Fleer or Donruss, but they just felt really soft. There was just a softness to the card, which in one way, I mean, if you accidentally bend it a little bit, it's probably not going to crease. Whereas you better believe the Stadium Club, if you bend them too far, they're going to like straight up fold on themselves. But I don't know, the image quality wasn't that good. I just, for a 40th year, I remember getting these packs in 91, and I just felt like these are kind of ugly because you compared those to what Upper Deck was doing at the time. Let's go over here. Now, this is a nice photo. This is Sandy Alomar. And you could just see the image quality, the clarity, the brightness, the colors. The back had a great photo. I mean, this is 91, and so was that Topps card you just looked at, and yet Topps owns the game. You know, at least they were losing the game then, but they stuck around, did it their way, and everybody started overproducing their cards, and everybody went out of business except Topps. Topps basically bought all their stuff, and there's parts of that story that really bother me, but I'm not going to get into it now. And yes, it does have to do with the chosen ones. Sandy Alomar. You know, he was a big name there. And I remember getting a Sandy Alomar card. Was a really, really cool thing around this time. And then his brother, Roberto Alomar, sort of overshadowed him because he's a first ballot Hall of Famer, just a guy that could do it all at the second base position. Preston Wilson, didn't hear much about him past that. Ryan Sandberg, 1992 All-Star Game. What a great athlete at the time. One of the highest paid second basemen at that time, even though great story on him, he refused a bunch of money that the Cubs were going to pay him because he wanted the Cubs to win. So he forewent this big bonus, not a bonus. I can't even think, but forget it. All I'm trying to say is he allowed the Cubs to keep the money so that they could go get prospects to help them win. Unfortunately, the Cubs didn't win until my boy Ben Zobrist came around. Gary Sheffield. Larry Walker. He was a guy I was paying no attention to in the early 90s, mid 90s, but boy, that guy had quite the career when you look at the numbers. Chad Mottola. Boy, that guy disappeared. Probably that arm bar. See, he's got his arm barred out. That's a bad sign. I used to do that, and I had to learn how to stop doing that. You bar your arm, it takes a lot. You got to really open up your body. It's like swinging a paddle instead of a quick handsy motion. The opposite of Barry Bonds. Chris Roberts, and back to Griffey. Okay, that's a bonus right there, man. Now that could be a giveaway. Just this in itself. Join my Whatnot auction and my at JSlay Rips tomorrow night, 8:30 p.m. Central Time, and join my new baseball-oriented platform or channel account, whatever, on YouTube, JSlay Baseball. All right. Okay, let's go back to here. All right, guys, I'm really excited. I've been sitting on this, waiting for the right time to do this with you guys. See how many people are watching. Hardly anyone. That's okay. That's all right. I've been waiting on this for a while. I have no idea what it's going to look like in there. Cool. All right. This is it. Special Stadium set, 1992. Hope my voice is okay. I'm using a lavalier mic because I'm going to have to stop using this. I never liked this mic very much. The standard SD1. Either I couldn't get the settings right, but if I turned my head at all, there's no volume. I would love to zoom in a little for y'all. Hold on one second. Let me zoom in. I'm going to shift this over a little here. All right, that's good. Hopefully it'll stop wobbling. All right. Make sure my hands aren't greasy. Okay. Please don't be bricked. I mean, these cards have been sitting in this container for 35 years. Wow. Okay. Uh-oh. Guys, they're not bricked. They're not bricked. Okay. Put a chunk here. We'll put a chunk here. All right. We'll go about 20 or 25 at a time. Now, this is a whole set, so bear with me. This will be a trip down memory lane for, I'm sure, many of you. And I'm going to lower, I don't have to lower it. I just got to zoom in a little more. Okay. Boy, it's hard to find I guess right here's the best spot. All right, so we got Steve Montgomery. Oh, they are bricked. Oh, no. Okay, when they're bricked, just give them a little, you can hear it, listen. Okay, now it ought to pull apart okay. Yeah, they're not terrible. Yeah, that came right off. Robin Ventura. Sad thing about Robin, man, you can't see him, and I hate this for him. I hate it for his kids. But like, when you see him, everybody's first thought that knows baseball thinks of him getting his head beat in by Nolan Ryan when he charged the mound. It's like that. He's probably like a tough guy, but he just looked completely owned in that moment, and it's burned in everybody's memory. Because we know Nolan Ryan was a tough guy. Chris Roberts, Chad McConnell. I'll go through these as quick as I can without destroying the cards. Bob Walk. Shoot, maybe I do need to back up. I can't figure out. Okay, so if I get a good one, I'll just hold it up higher for you guys to look at. All right, Shannon Stewart, Damian Berryhill, Doug Mirabelli, Rick Aguilera. He had a great career. Another guy that I paid no attention to, probably because I didn't look at pitchers that much. Lloyd McClendon. Draft pick, 92, Jim Moore. No idea. Kurt Amon. Kurt Amon. That's sweet. I gotta bring it to my nose. That's what I tell myself. Bring it to my nose, and then you guys can see it. Devils. Oh, it's okay. So he was minors, obviously. Draft pick Mike Matthews. These are all draft picks right here. 92 draft pick Tim Crabtree. I remember the name. Don't remember him. Jerry Brown, AL 92, AL playoffs. Preston Wilson, he was one of the jumbo cards. Now, why can't they get these all to the same angle or direction? You'd think they would do that. It'd be easier. Jeff Patsky, Mark Valdez, Mark Lemke. Steve Rodriguez, Francisco Cabrera, Trey Beeman. So again, this is a full set, guys, so you're kind of getting everybody. I don't know how big this set is. It's probably 250 cards. Sherrard Clinkscales. Anybody remember Sherrard Clinkscales? Because I don't. Straight out of Purdue. You know what? I bet he had committed to Purdue, and then he ended up. No, he's old. He looks older. He actually went to college. It looks like. I was about to say he probably committed to Purdue and then went in the draft. All right, here's a good one. from my former alma mater, Kevin Brown. Had a heck of a 8 to 10 year run, much longer big league career than that, but I think he got in trouble with the roids as well. He went from being a fairly trim young pro to huge. Chad Mottola. Okay, Don Wingert, Ed Sprague, Benji Grigsby. What a background. Got him in the disco room there. Gus Gandarios. I don't know Gus. Something's wrong with Gus's mouth there. I think that's actually those, forget what it was called. They had these little like light circles. See his tooth? Unless he's got a nut in his mouth. Well, I shouldn't have said it like that. You guys know what I mean. Charles Johnson, he was a big-time prospect. Didn't quite pan out like they hoped. Tony Sheffield. Lonnie Smith, Braves. Chris Wimmer, Kelly Gruber. This is playoffs. I think Gruber, he was a guy I still don't know a lot about, but I do know that he had a big name early on. Let's see what his stats look like. His season in 92, 446 at-bats, 100 hits, 11 homers, averaged 229. Didn't do much there. I think he was I hate to say this about any pro, but an underperformer compared to what they were hoping. Brandon Cromer. Jason Kendall, we remember him. Keith Johnson. Damon Hollis, Kenny Fielder. Kevin Brown's really the only player of note so far. Joe Petka. Looks like a ball player, but I don't remember his name. Zoom in a little more. Tim Ledger. Sure, I thought we would, at this point, I thought we would have more hits by now, but I'm putting these in the wrong stack here. We've gone through those too, yeah. David Sprykstra, not Dykstra. There we go. Sprykstra. Interesting. Derek Wallace. Joe Hamilton. And so I'm having to go through these slow because if they are bricked or stuck, Tom Pagnozzi, I don't want to damage them. That's why I'm sort of taking my time going through these rather than just boom, 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 because they'll rip off each other. Willie Adams. The great news, though, is for those who maybe this was just kept in a good temperature-controlled environment, because obviously no UV is going to hit these cards with how they're packaged, but they can last this long and not be bricked. It's a good thing. Byron Matthews. Harold Baines. Interesting case with Harold Baines. He did make it to the Hall of Fame. He had a good career, but he kind of did not have the career that most Hall of Famers have. So there's a little bit of conflict or questions about why he got in. Todd Etler. Roger Bailey. How about that? How about that look? Tried to think of a funny quip there, but nothing hit me. Doug Hecker. I mean, this guy looks like he's right out of a 90s sitcom, like The Facts of Life or one of those. Okay, talk about, this guy looks like, I don't know, like the All-American like football bully from some like 80s or 90s movie where he's like, bullying the nerd at school or something. That's the prototype right there. Good looking dude though. Doug Jones, Jack McDowell, heck of a career there. And Tim Wakefield, another. Now, did you guys know that Wakefield was a position player? Started out as a position player, could not find his bat for a few years, and he was about out of baseball. I think he was out of baseball, and he learned just kind of like from one of the bullpen pitchers how to throw a knuckleball. I think that's the story, and threw it really well, and the rest is history. Ended up having a wonderful career, including with the Boston Red Sox when they beat the Yankees and then beat the Cardinals for the 2004 World Series. Todd Steverson. So really only 3 big hits so far. Kevin Brown, you could say Aguilera and Harold Baines are hits, but Kevin Brown, Jack McDowell, Tim Wakefield, Emmanuel Lee, Larry Mitchell, Levon Largusa, Trevor Humphrey, Pat Borders, Rich Ireland, Travis Fryman. See how he did. 789 at bats. Oh, okay. That career 1990. So it's given the total there. 30 home runs, average 270. Well, not bad. I think he was one of those players, Fryman, that had like half seasons of greatness, and then he would kind of fall back to average, and it kept happening, and he ended up with, an average career. But again, I want to say one thing to everybody right now. Man, average career in the major leagues is a special player, because a lot of times those guys had more. I was a guy like this. They had other tools early on, then they got hurt in one way or another, just in the nature of playing thousands of games in your life and weightlifting and everything else. And they still have enough to be there, but they're not maybe. They've refined their skill and their tools. Maybe they've got 2 tools. They got speed and hitting for contact, or they got an arm and they got speed, or they have just power. But you rewind the clock to their college days, or their high school days, they might have had 2 other tools on top of that. But just not even due to age, but due to the time involved and all the wear on your body, people get filtered out. Just due to things happening and them losing their tools. Otis Nixon. Oh. Vip Roberts. Ron Gant, All-Star. I thought he was going to be such a stud, and I guess in many people's minds he looked the part. There's no doubt about that. 259 average. Oh, that's over the course of 4 years. He did some great things with the Braves. We'll leave it at that. John Smoltz. Now that's our best card so far. He's a no doubt Hall of Famer. Career just as long as Roger Clemens. Not quite as dominant as Clemens, but at the same time, a pitcher's pitcher and knew how to win ball games for years. Jimmy Key, another guy a lot like Smoltz. Probably underrated, but Key was awesome. He might be in the Hall of Fame. I'm not sure. Yeah, low ERA. Bob Walcott. Please tell me that's a draft picture. Yes, it is. Check this out. Look at this dude, Walcott. I mean, okay, you're going to have your picture taken for Top Stadium Club. Put on your Mariners hat. Like, he's got his glove on his. It is. He's wearing his glove with a long sleeve. I guess that's a polo. No, is that a Tommy Hilfiger symbol? I think it is. So Hilfiger, big wide striped shirt. That's early 90s. Perfect. Mark Langston. Jason Giambi. Check this out. All right, so I mean he's a strong guy, you can tell. I mean, muscular guy, but he's really trim. He probably weighs 200 pounds there. Wait, 198. He weighs 198 pounds here. I ran into him. I mean, I've seen him in person a few times, but I mean really up close and personal at the Blue Martini in Tampa in spring training. And dude, this is the middle steroid era. This was 06, 07. Just muscles on top of muscles, 6'3", I think. Let's see what he is. 6'2". He looked 6'4" to me that night. Just humongous guy walking around drinking his blue martini. Will Clark, Will the Thrill. Now, Will was my first favorite player. They called him Will the Thrill, but he was just had a beautiful, natural, smooth swing. Just kind of looked graceful and effortless to some degree. And I loved that swing so much. He became my first favorite player. And because of that, and all my binders, I mean, I probably traded away my Derek Jeters and not my Ken Griffey's, because Ken Griffey would later become my favorite, as he did for so many boys of the 90s. But Will the Thrill was my man. B.J. Wallace. Everett Stool, the second. Everett Stool 2, the second. Juan Guzman. The 2 cards? No. Jason Angel. I don't remember Jason Angel. Draft pick. Charles Nagy. I think he had a good career. I apologize. There's certain people I just did not pay a lot. Oh, this next one's awesome. I mean, this guy. Where I'm trying to think where you would see a guy like this. He's kind of got the hair. He's dark-headed, but he's got the who was the bad guy on Karate Kid? Johnny. He's kind of got the except for dark, obviously, but I'm thinking that same hair, just the big mop like that. Rod Henderson. I don't think Rod lasted long. Let's see what it says about him, if anything. Year, freshman. Oh, they put his freshman, sophomore, and junior year. He's a pitcher. His stats aren't wonderful. ERA, okay, wins, losses are really low. So either they just didn't pitch many games or he was a closer or something. Out of Kentucky. Home, Glasgow, Kentucky, born in Greensburg, Kentucky. Wow. Paxton, I mean, I need to get, these are just awesome. I didn't realize the kind of looks that they were dressing up for these Top Stadium Club photo days. You'd think they'd want to like wear something athletic. Yeah, sporty. Carlos Baerga. Great infielder. I think he was a good hitter too. He had a 3.83 average in home games, 370. Okay. What was his actual average? His actual average in 1990 and 91 combined was 278. Good amount of RBIs. Good player. Great fielder. Norm Charlton. Tom Evans. I don't remember Tom. Brian Sakinski. Danny Clyburn. Guy looks like a beast. All right, we're about halfway through here. Seems like the ones in the middle aren't bricked very badly. Chris Roberts. Uh-oh. Oh, okay. I thought I got another Larry Walker. I had the jumbo promo pictures. I had this Larry Walker. Eckersley. What a great pitcher. I didn't know. I mean, I knew he was good because like older people than me talked about him. Because I think, by the time I was really collecting in the early 90s, mid 90s, he was kind of on his way out. But I mean, that guy pitched from, I think, the mid 70s. Career 1975 to 1990. Well, this is 92, so he's not done at this point. But man, what a great pitcher with a great story too. Battled alcoholism for most of his pro career. That's not the great part, but he has a great part to it. Cal Ripken. There we go. That would be probably the most valuable card we're seeing yet. I think we're getting into the good ones now that we're in the middle of the pack here. Pretty cards. See how he was doing 91, 92. Right here it says 1981 to 91. So this is at the 10-year mark. He's already got 6,305 at-bats, 1,638 games. Batting average lifetime at this point was right at 280. Cool. Big mark. Right in the middle of the Bash Brothers era right there. I think Canseco was still on the team. Craig Biggio, Hall of Famer, I believe. Another guy I didn't really watch because, I mean, who to me in Tennessee with no major league team around me, it's like I knew the Braves, I knew the White Sox because of WGN or TBN, and then I knew the Giants because I loved Will Clark and Barry Bonds. But yeah, I had some Cubs games, some White Sox games, Braves games, and then you kind of knew the Yankees always just because of who they are. Michael Tucker, great player. Lloyd Peaver, that'd be a tough name. But the thing is, it fits. Like, look at this. There's Peeve, Lloyd Peaver. He was named appropriately. Jonathan Nunnally. Kenny Carlisle. David Meisel. Don't know him. Oh, we just got one stuck here. Come on. So you don't want that to happen when I get to the Jeter. We don't want that to happen. Steve Murphy. Jamie Taylor. Jamie Arnold. Jeff Alker. Dan Serafini. Darren Dalton. Hung out with him one night. I don't remember much about like this or that. I'm not name dropping. I'm just saying it was, I was in Philly spring training and he was with a big group of us down by the beach at some night spot. We were eating outdoors. One of those, I forget what they even call those places where you're kind of open air on the beach eating. Calvin Murray. But Dalton was definitely a leader for his team for the time and a really good player. I wouldn't call him a great player, but a good player. Willie Brown. And that's talking about big leaguers. You put him, against college guys or whatever, it's, head and shoulders above. Ruben Sierra. I don't know if Ruben, he definitely had the look of a guy who would have been just all world. Right there reminds me of a Juan Gonzalez a little bit, but, just a superb athlete. And I think he had some good seasons, no doubt about that. But I don't know that he was, like a marquee player. Hut Smith, good old Hut. It looks like a Southern boy, man. He got to be, right? Yep, North Carolina. Kannapolis, North Carolina. It's funny how you can just tell. Wade Boggs. They don't make third basemen like him anymore in the sense of big burly white guys that hit tons and tons of singles and an occasional double. He's definitely, an anchor for his team. Great Hall of Fame player. But he couldn't do it all. He couldn't hit home runs. Let's see. At this point in 92, he was in the league for 10 years. And he had 78 home runs, so he was averaging less than 10 home runs a season. But his average over the course of those 10 years was 345. So, can't argue with that. Jeff Haas. Chris Holt. Rick Magdaleno. Ryan Lazinski. We're back to a bunch of draft picks. This guy looks older than a draft pick. He's got the thick face of like a 30-year-old there. Paul Molitor. Phenomenal player. Gamer, man. The guy knew how to get it done. See what he was doing there. He 78 to 91, so he'd been in the league 12 years at this point. Batting average of 302, 148 home runs, 700 RBIs, over 2,000 hits, and his career here was far from over. He had a lot more to give. Ivan Rodriguez, Pudge. Definitely the Stadium Club photo for him on the non-Jack Murphy set's completely different. It's neat to see these other versions. Sean Walker, S-H-O-N. Where's old Sean from? Kentucky. They spelled Kentucky wrong. Kentusi, from Cynthiana, Kentucky, born in 74. Wow. All right. I've got a feeling that we're about to hit that Jeter. Chris Eddy. Chuck Knobloch. How about that stance? Just laid that. He's got his bat on plane, doesn't he? Sean Lowe. David Cone. Great pitcher there. I think he had a perfect game as well. Huh, another Giambi. Wow. Another Giambi. I didn't guess they had a Team USA card. That's cool. I guess it's like a subset within this set. Oh, no, okay, another Smoltz. So there's a few of these. So this is the NL Playoffs card for Smoltz. Denny Martinez, All-Star. Darren Dreyfort, Team USA. Don't remember him. Juan Guzman, we had him earlier. Lee Smith. Tony Gwynn, look how much more in shape Tony Gwynn looks there than he did about, 10 years later in, 2001 or 2. I think he was still playing then. Yeah, he looks pretty athletic there. Chris Gomez. Richie Moody. Greg Maddux. Is there a scratch on this card? Please no. No, there's not. Greg Maddux. Possibly the best pitcher of the whole bunch of that era. Not on power, but just on finesse, control, and an announcer once said he's like a surgeon with his scalpel. He makes it rather painless to go down on strikes. And I never faced him, but he made it look easy. Tom Nouse, that's a good picture. That's cool. Roger Clemens, right in his prime with Boston, getting it done. This is his All-Star card from 92. ERA over the course of 84 to 91, his total ERA is 2.85. He's already got over 1,600 strikeouts, almost 1,700. Wins losses 134 to 61. It's crazy for a pitcher. They say he possibly, other than the really, really old timers, could be the most dominant pitcher in baseball history, according to several metrics. That's not to say that Nolan Ryan didn't have like better stuff or didn't have a 3 or 4 year run that was just more lights out. But in terms of like a 15 to 20 year run of just greatness, that's Clemens. And Clemens did have amazing stuff. Kirby, look how thick that dude is, man. I need to go back and watch like film because I've seen tons of cards of Kirby. I've seen like a swing maybe, but like, I never watched the Twins growing up. There were definitely no Twins games. So I'd like to see how he moved, because that is a big bodied dude. Jason Moeller, Terry Pendleton. Chad Roper. Nobody's going to be watching this right now. Let me see. Anybody watching this? 9 people. I cannot believe it. On Rumble, 9 people watching. Thank you, guys. Make sure you follow me on JSlay Baseball on YouTube, because that's where this stuff's going to go from now on. I'm just trying to get you guys to come over there if you like baseball and you like, sports talk and that kind of thing. But also on Whatnot, I've got an auction tomorrow night where I've got some really cool. I keep bringing up the same boxes. Look at this one. This is one of 8 boxes. This is 1990 Leaf. Lots of great players in there, and you can get the most coveted Frank Thomas rookie of all of his rookies is in that particular box, we hope. I mean, phenomenal photo. This guy's like the pastor's son. I mean, check this out. Mark Thompson, son of Pastor Paul. Absolutely. Look at that shirt. Incredible, crisp collar. His mom pressed that in the morning for this photo shoot. She probably ironed the jeans too. I mean, he is leading the Fellowship of Christian Athletes in the offseason. There's no doubt. Good guy. Great guy, though. I'm not talking bad about him. Jeff Schmidt. Rick Green, Team USA. Rick Helling, Team USA. Dave Winfield, another guy I didn't get to see play a whole lot, but just by the pictures of him, I knew like this guy can get it done in terms of just his body. I mean, he looked like a Greek god in uniform, just huge, long, strong. Bob Tewksbury, very good pitcher that I don't know much about. Tony Fernandez. Barry Bonds. Boy, oh boy. What a career he had in front of him at this point. What a career. Selected the All-Star game. So he started in 86. So you got to remember, he was 3 years before Griffey. And then he way outlasted Griffey. And we know part of the reason why. But I mean, at this point, even after 5 years, he only had, I say only, but he had 142 home runs. So he had another 600 and change to go. He got better and better and better and better. Fred McGriff. Same thing. I ran into him at Blue Martini one night. He was hanging out with, you know, the Rocky Balboa movie. I think it was just called Balboa, but it came out. It was like the 6th iteration before the Creed series. And so the Tommy Gunn thing had already happened. That was Rocky V, which a lot of people thought was a dud. It was a little weird, but I liked it. Then you had Balboa, and what was his name? The main black guy that he had to beat, who was kind of like a paper champion, but Rocky ended up like tying him or whatever, or maybe even losing. But anyway, he gave him a good fight, and it was kind of his big comeback and his goodbye to boxing in a way. Well, McGriff was hanging out with that boxer that was fighting Stallone, that actor. He's a real boxer too, though. And I talked to both of them that night, mostly to the boxer guy. I hate that I can't remember his name. Anyway, Bryant Brown. Sandberg, what a photo. It's just awesome. Pretty. Ron Villone, Joe Montgomery. All right, we're down to just these. Just these. So we're on the last probably 5th, I would say, looking at all these. Last 5th. All right. Mike Mussina. Oh, what a great photo here. Everybody loves the kid. How could you not? He played the game with a lot of joy and just effortless. Oh, no, it's a little bricked. There we go. Came off easy. No problems there. 6'3", 195 at that point. That's probably even his like minor league height and weight. Average at this point, after 89 to 91, he's batting .299, had 60 home runs. He was learning how to do it right there, no doubt. Eric Owens. Deshaun Warren. Jeffrey Hammonds. Benny Santiago, the catcher that introduced power back into the catching position as a hitter, and also began to popularize throwing from your knees to second base because he could get it done. Great catcher. Donnie Leschnock. It's a bad photo. It's like he hurt his ankle coming out of the box right there. I'd hate that photo if I was him. Jimmy Barron. I got to keep flipping these over. Tim Davis. Chad McConnell. One of these, oh, check this out. Look how different he looks there than he looked later in his career. I think he had a nose job and his ears pinned back. Because I watched the thing the other day on Netflix. I think it was on Netflix or maybe it was on YouTube TV. And it was all about the miracle of 2004 and how those guys got it done. Don't worry about that. And came back and beat the Yankees. And Garciaparra looked like a Hollywood movie star at that point. But I mean, here, oh, shoot. He looks more like, I mean, if I didn't know who that was, and they said that's, a Native American, that they cut his hair short for this and they put him in a baseball uniform, I'd believe it. Okay. Benji Simonton. Don't remember that dude. All right, we're getting close. Michael Moore, not the filmmaker, the ball player, Michael Moore. Ozzy, the Wizard, loved watching him. But the most, again, like on his way out as I'm coming into baseball. So the majority of what I saw him do was highlights of him doing backflips on the field. So he's a great player if he's going to do that. Brett Backlund. Andy Van Slyke. I think he's a lot like a guy like Dale Murphy. Like had a good 5-6 year run, and then other than that was just average. Kevin Pearson. You know how disappointed I'm going to be if we get to the end of this and there is no Jeter? Like I bought the wrong year. Oh man. What if it, this is 90, it's got to be in this one. Sandy Alomar, but we are down to about 25 cards here. Great photo, Sandy Alomar. What a grin. It's like kind of like half, like a third gremlin. He's a third gremlin. That's David Manning. Let's see here. See if anybody's watching, at least on Rumble. 7 watchers, 7. Marquise Riley. Steve Lyons. Uh-oh, found it. All right, so take a look at this. Look how small his arm, I mean, his arms look like toothpicks there. That's why I didn't pay any attention to this guy. But, I mean, you got to be kidding me. What's wrong with the corner? Oh, okay. That's his pants. All right, so I saw that and I thought there's a soft corner. There's like it's like flicked up because that little edge right there. But no, that's actually like his pants tucked in, or his shirt tucked into his pants right there. All right, definitely don't want anything to pull off on this one. Because if I get this graded, it's a PSA 10, I think it's at least a $200 card. Oh yeah, we're good. We are good. It's just got to be centered well. I need to go ahead and penny sleeve and top load that one. Give me just a second. You'll see how to properly penny sleeve and top load a card. Just a moment. Get the right goodies over here. Sorry, I should have had all this ready to go already. All right. Thing is about these penny sleeves, like they can catch the edge, like right there, and you just, last thing you want to do. There we go. Okay, that slid in fine. All right, then we'll throw it in this guy. I kind of like to open these up a little bit first because they can really, it sounds weird, but sometimes it's hard to push them in because these things are so tight. There we go. Corners look good to you guys? I think it's great. All right. That's what we were here for. Let's run through these last ones kind of quick. I feel like we haven't seen a couple of the greats, though. Maybe Frank Thomas, Jeff Alkery, Chris Smith, Joe Carter. I'm sorry, you guys couldn't even see what I was doing there. Joe Carter, Mike Sharperson, Scott Patton, John Saffer, Roberto Alomar. Brothers with Sandy and the son of Sandy Alomar Sr. Fun fact on that, on both Fleer and Don Russ, I think it was those two, not Topps, they took Sandy Alomar's Jr.'s card. It says Sandy Alomar Jr. and it's his dad. Because his dad, like kind of like Griffey, I think his dad was either managing or played right at the tail end of Sandy Jr.'s, the beginning of his career. And they both companies did it. And it's like you got this old looking dude and they're saying he's like rookie, Sandy Alomar Jr., rated rookie. Ramiro Martinez. Sounds like a typical white guy. Roberto Kelly. Very similar to me as Ruben Sierra, like phenomenal looking athlete. I think he had a couple good seasons, showed a lot of promise, but never became like a stud like you would think. Steve Rodriguez, Brady Anderson. Talk about a guy that became a stud. We know he had a little help, but that dude became a beast. Leadoff hitter hitting 50 plus home runs. It's insane. Darren Kierkegaard. How's this? I hope the sound is good. Hope the sound is good. Darren Kierkegaard, Billy Owens, Cruckster. What do they call him? Like One Nut Cruck or something. What a funny commentator, though. I loved listening to that guy. I still do. You can find lots of clips on Instagram, on baseball pages of his commentary, just like random stuff during games. It's hilarious. Much better player than you would think, based on looks alone. Mike Gulan, Gary Sheffield, great photo there. Jason Varitek, alma mater, Georgia Tech. A part of that 2004 Red Sox team, the idiots that took it all. Great team leader, kind of a humble, quiet, yet firm type guy, presence. Mark Williams and Tom Glavine at the press conference. Yeah, I mean, so 33 years in, get this out of the way here. 33 years that those cards have been sitting, a little light on me, in this little box, inside of this little stadium. And I got the Derek Jeter. I think I'm going to actually have that one graded. I don't like PSA, all right? And I've not been back in the hobby game for very long, so I don't really have the right to say that because I've never had anything graded by anyone. But, you know, when I came up, there was no grading. I mean, it was maybe just starting, but I didn't know about it. But I don't like that PSA costs as much as they cost. I mean, a lot of times you want to get something graded so it's worth what you think it's worth. Well, they're taking $27 and they don't even tell you what's wrong with it. They'll just give you an 8, 9, 10, whatever. And here's what I hate. If you happen, like this card right here, if I were to say, okay, it's, you know, most likely a 9 because they rarely give 10s, and it's worth $50, you know, so they charge the normal amount, the 27. But if they graded a 10, they'll upcharge you. I guess as punishment for having a great card because it's worth more than you said it would be worth. Like, it's just dumb. Whereas Beckett Grading Services, they don't do that. And they're not nearly as popular. So I think PSA they have a very slick website. They've got all the information on grading. So if you're asking like the population, the number of cards rated an 8, a 9, or a 10, it's always PSA because they've got this humongous database. So they got in it first, got popular. So now people just say PSA as if that means grading, which that's every brand's wet dream, is like they want to be the thing. They want to, like Kleenex. That's just like facial snot napkins, basically. But you think, I want a Kleenex, right? I want a Coke. PSA's kind of gotten there, but they're hurting themselves. One, because the grading thing, the upcharges. Two is, I hear right now, if you send something in to have it graded, which is a process, you're not going to get the card back for like 4 to 6 months. So that's super annoying too. I mean, if you send something in with somebody else, you I would want it back within a month, but like 2 weeks, But I just think they've got a huge backlog. So I hope Beckett or maybe one of the other ones can begin to compete with PSA, because right now I just think it's a lot of, is it bluster? Is that a word? Just like, okay, you got this name, but to some degree, I don't know that you still earn the right to have that name if you earned it at all. Competition's always better. That's what I don't like is going on with Topps and Fanatics. Fanatics owns Topps, and Topps owns baseball cards. Donruss is now Panini, and they do football, basketball. I think Upper Deck does as well. But nobody touches baseball. And I'm not even going to get into that whole discussion tonight, because you know what? I enjoy these cards, having fun with it. Life is too short and too good. There's too many blessings to let ourselves just be. No, I was never angry all the time. I'm not saying like, oh, I was messed up for 3-4 years. Not that at all. What I'm saying is everybody needs a break. And I think there's a season for everything. And right now the season is just chill. And even though I don't like the stuff going on with Israel and Charlie Kirk and pastors that are all locking arms, and, I'll throw one thing out there. When Pastor Rob All right, guys, so what do we have here? What are we looking at? What you're looking at is inventory for my new Whatnot baseball card auction show. Link in the description if you would like $15 off on an auction for some of these amazingly rare cards. Right there at the top, you've got the Fleer 1984 sealed box, certified sealed, never been opened. The packs in that box are going on eBay right now with shipping, averaging about 16 bucks a pack. On my show, you ought to be able to win these bids for maybe $7, $8 a pack. You're going to be spinning a wheel. It's a roulette wheel to land on one of these boxes. Lots of rare stuff. We got 1990 Leaf, where you get Frank Thomas's rookie card. You got 84 Fleer, Don Mattingly's rookie card. You got 93 Upper Deck, where you can land Manny Ramirez, Chipper Jones, and others. You've got, let's see here, you've got 87 Topps, where you can land a Bo Jackson rookie card, among others. Guys, it's going to be awesome. It's going to be awesome. Go to the link in the description, join my Whatnot show, and let's have some fun together doing some nostalgic baseball card stuff, some vintage stuff. We're going to talk a lot of baseball and have some fun. See you there.